Eris makes herself invisible and sneaks up on a group of fish swimming in the river nearby. She grabs several and takes them back to the cave, where Marx and Drohon have a fire going. Marx and Eris finally embrace after being apart for so long, and the three cook and eat the fish, at least getting a moment of solace.
Thank you.
You're not mad?
No, definitely not. You're more worthy of the Everystone than I am.
That couldn't be further from the truth.
It should not belong to me. I'm not what all of them believe me to be.
The fact that you can sit here and say that to me speaks leagues about who you are. To them and to me.
She grabs his hand.
Is Matthias all right?
Last I saw him, he was off with Gabriel on a mission to Vilgarth.
Excuse me? And you let him go?
I did not get a say.
You should have put a stop to it.
It was a personal choice for him.
Marx does not know what to say. He focuses on his food.
Whatever his reason, I know it's not your fault. I could never be angry with you, You saved our asses.
This reminds Eris of Drohon's presence. She glares at him.
Tell me about your vision. Tell me about your vision, champion.
Drohon looks to Marx for any sort of sign, but Marx just carries on eating his fish.
Medam himself appeared to me. He told me to set all of my prisoners free.
If that was your only order, you failed.
I realize that.
We freed Marx. That is not nothing. But was there anyone else? Did you get anyone else away from those animals?
No.
With each passing moment, Eris becomes noticeably more and more upset.
I know you took captive a young prefect's apprentice named Elise. Where is she?
Drohon looks surprised and then becomes solemn. He bows his head a little and slowly shakes it back and forth. At this, Eris gets to her feet and stomps over to Drohon.
She was my sister.
Drohon is shattered at the thought, but then resigns himself. All he can do is look into her eyes.
As you said, I failed. I disobeyed.
Eris pushes Drohon against the wall, gets out one of her knives, and holds it to his throat.
Give me a reason. One reason why I shouldn't slit your throat here and now. This one is Denagon's bitch. His champion!
Not anymore.
It doesn't matter.
You know as well as I he can never go back there. He is as much of the Torok's enemy as you and I.
This could all be one massive deception. What if he still is with them? We're just gonna bring him to our home?
You call all of that a deception? Scorching half the Torok base, skewering his own men, putting himself through all of that. This former champion is infamous for his strategy and cunning. None of that is what I'd call strategy.
Eris has no response.
I am no happier about any of this than you are. But I believe Drohon did indeed receive a vision from Medam. A vision he did eventually obey. This, at the very least, shows he no longer serves Denagon.
Eris turns away from Drohon and sulks in a corner.
Why? Why the hell would Medam choose someone as vile as this man?
I don't know. All I know is Medam is slow to anger and operates above and beyond us all. You, I, are allies, and apparently even Drohon are meant to be his vessels.
And why would you stand by and let them touch Elise? I trusted you. From where I'm standing, you just look like a coward and a traitor.
Now, listen to me.
Marx stops himself. He shuffles against the wall and then hits it as hard as he can. Eris leaves the cave. No one has any more to say after this. After a while, Marx and Drohon go outside the cave to find Eris sitting forlornly by herself. Marx and Drohon sit down next to her, and all are silent for a bit.
We need to make a decision. Do we go back home?
Both Eris and Drohon take a while to gather their thoughts.
I want to, but I don't know if I'm ready.
Me neither.
Well, I know for a fact we can't stay on our own forever. How could I, any of us for that matter, wake up every morning apart from fighting Denagon with all of our being.
Eris and Drohon stare into the flowing river with unspoken agreement. Jaren and his Torok sort through the ruins of their base as a Gothic-looking caravan arrives.
To attention, all of you.
Jaren approaches the door of the caravan to greet his master, and out of the door steps the ghastly figure of Denagon himself. Jaren kneels.
My lord, Drohon's treachery allowed the next Titus to escape.
I know.
Denagon grabs Jaren by the arm and pulls him up.
You have one last chance to eliminate each and every one of my enemies. I will personally oversee your progress.
All Jaren can do is bow his head in compliance, and Denagon lets him go. Denagon then walks away from the camp to the surrounding woods, and he gestures for Jaren to come with. Jaren promptly obeys. Marx, Eris, and Drohon make their way to the Medamites' headquarters.
If you were thinking of running away, I would easily catch up. The power of the Everystone, the very object you've coveted, flows through me.
I appreciate the reminder.
Marx, not wanting to harp on either Eris or Drohon's anger, moves the entire dialogue forward.
Drohon, do you truly follow Medam now? Be honest, following Medam is more than just believing in him.
It doesn't seem like I have a choice.
Marx is unsure if this response is a sign of hostility or insecurity.
Up to this point, had you always served Denagon?
Yes, I did. Since the day I was born. And so did my father, and his father. Of course, I earned my place at the top.
And did you ever meet Denagon?
Only once.
What is Denagon like?
It's difficult to put into words. Both warm and cold. Empowering and degrading.
You won't be surprised to hear this, but from where we stand, Denagon is the one who led mankind down the path of destruction after Medam offered them everlasting life.
Drohon nods knowingly.
And what is Denagon capable of?
I don't have the full picture. Based on what the Everystone has allowed you to do, we can assume Denagon's abilities are similar. But who's to say that all of his powers were taken away after his duel with Medam?
Let me get this straight. You were Denagon's chief enforcer, and even you were kept in the dark about his true power? You only met him once?
Drohon says nothing.
Let me ask you one more thing. What do you know about Medam? Aside from your encounter with him, of course.
I only know of what Denagon told us. Medam held creation back for ages, and the only way to bring about the most good is to break free of Medam's control over everyone's destiny.
And what is the story you were told?
I'm sure you would love to hear all the nursery rhymes, the cultic chants, and the propaganda I was raised on.
I would. Honest.
Memorized every word by a quarter of my life. Long ago, the Great One created the world and all of its inhabitants. The Great One meticulously created each one to serve its own purpose and do nothing more and nothing less than what was envisioned for them. This system allowed the world to grow and develop, but it did not enable true happiness or prosperity. So one being named Baedel-Denagon rose up from among the inhabitants of the world and gained enough power to break free from the Great One's control. Denagon shared his power with the people, permitting them to break out of their script. He became their savior. Denagon led the people in an uprising against the Great One and drove him from the world, never to be seen again. Only one man remained in opposition to Denagon from here. Medam, disciple of the Great One. However, Denagon managed to kill Medam in one final battle, finally freeing the world of the Great One's influence. After this, Denagon willingly gave up most of his power to be shared with his people. This became the Every Stone, which was offered as thanks for their undying devotion. However, even after Medam's death, some still vainly served him and continued his pointless fight. These people declared war, stealing the Every Stone for themselves. Ever since, they've kept it for themselves. Denagon's army was built up over time to oppose these criminals, but despite having purged most of Medam's followers from the land, the Every Stone has still escaped their grasp. So, the time has now come to finish the fight. Destroy Medam's followers once and for all, and return to Denagon what is rightfully his. All so he can finally fulfill his destiny and bring the world into everlasting harmony and order once and for all. Or something to that effect. I hope that satisfies.
Marx and Eris process this yarn.
If I'm being completely honest, most Torax do not entirely believe it, but they repeat it and teach it to their children, all to keep up morale and stay focused on the work.
Of destroying us.
That is correct.
Fascinating. I admit, this shares some similarities with our own legend of Medam. Just as the Taurox view Denagon as the true savior and view Medam as the only opposition to everlasting peace, we would proclaim the opposite.
What are you getting at, exactly?
I'm not proposing anything, just gaining perspective. Perhaps we all do not know as much as we think we do. I will admit, present company considered, that I have been doubting Medam's providence. We have been on the losing side of a merciless war for years. No, we're on the verge of extinction. Even after I refused immediate custody of the Everystone, I was still given my own group of soldiers to lead and mentor. And yet, there I was, beaten, broken, and captured by the Taurox. I couldn't believe it. And then, who decides to appear in my life but you? You and Medam. Do not forget that I received a vision from him too.
And
it gives a man hope that Medam's promises, the ones I have come to believe, to restore the world and put an end to all of this suffering, might just be true.
Eris and Drohon take this in.
Drohon, perhaps you and I are not so different after all. We've both fallen short of our masters and our friends. Now we have to figure out how to fulfill our duty in spite of it all.
At this, there is nothing more to say, and the three of them silently walk the rest of the way to the Medamite base. The three bruised and battered warriors arrive after a while, and they are immediately surrounded by guards and citizens on the outskirts. Many of the faces and expressions are friendly, but some are consumed in deep fear, especially at the sight of Drohon.
We need to meet with the elders.
One of the guards, a chief, retrieves two older men along with Marx's brother Matthias. The men are prefects Hale and Danforth. Matthias attempts to be stoic and stand tall at the sight of his brother, but both Eris and Marx immediately run to him and give him the tightest hug they can. He gives in and hugs them back. Marx addresses the elders.
The next, Titus. Words cannot express how pleased we are to see you safe.
My fathers, my brothers, this is a time of sorrow. Prefect Hawthorne and nearly every other prisoner of war is gone.
Hearing this makes Eris think of Elise and reinvigorates her wrath. This also sets off the elders.
And I take it this blackguard is responsible. This is a face I could never forget.
At this, the entire crowd surrounding them begins to heat up, demanding to know if the man before them is really the Torok commander, and if so, why he is still alive.
This man, Drohon, did not kill Prefect Hawthorne.
He is responsible for killing Elise.
He did not spill her blood.
Marx's protests fall on deaf ears. Both Marx and Drohon look around at the shouting faces, now at their mercy. The mob then ignites and tries to grab Drohon, but Marx pushes them back, even drawing his sword and standing off against them. The elders rebuke Marx.
What is this? You defend their champion?
No one has the claim to defend such a vile enemy.
Did not Medam himself order us to love our enemies? A good few of you are descended from followers of Cain, and yet here you are.
The people simmer down slightly after hearing this.
Drohon, the former champion of Denagon, received a vision from Medam himself on the road from Dorin. He was ordered to switch sides, and here he is.
This makes the crowd restless and confused.
Drohon was our greatest enemy and brutalized our men, women, and children. But he is here now. He has given up everything. At the very least, he is no friend of Denagon. Otherwise, why not consider him our ally?
Some proclaim that this must be a deception. Others rebuke such statements, saying not to question the next Titus, and others still deny Marx's authority, since he is not in possession of the Everystone.
We have much to discuss, Marx. Take him to lockup. I want a full rotation, keeping him secure.
The Medamite guards restrain Drohon to await further judgment. Marx gives Drohon an apologetic look.
Marx, you and Eris need to come with us.
The elders and Matthias take Eris and Marx to the chapel in the center of the base, where they question the two warriors on their experiences.
Eris, am I to believe you flew away into the night and left us to go after Marx by yourself?
That's right.
How? Pray tell. Did you accomplish this on your own?
I took the Everystone for myself.
We suspected as much. So you do not deny it?
No, I did what I had to do to save Marx, and try to save Elise.
Hale clenches his fist.
You wretch!
Excuse me?
You've betrayed us all! Traditions be damned!
Marx is taken greatly aback by their anger. He finds himself, for the briefest moment, even reaching for his sword.
Medam intended for the next Titus to possess the stone's power.
I asked her to do this.
That is irrelevant. Your path to fulfilling your destiny has already been smeared by your own self-doubt and pity. But fate will attend to itself. She is another matter. Openly defying destiny. This cannot go unanswered.
Where is he? Where is the prefect Hale who believed in Medam's power in spite of man's folly?
Do not recant my own lessons back at me, Marx. The grip of the Denagon is closing in around us, and now this? She cannot be allowed here!
Send yourself away, Eris, before we do it for you.
You're out of line. I wouldn't still be alive if not for her.
It's as you said. If by the will of Medam you will still be standing here with us today. She is outside of his will.
How do you know?
I'm not taking any chances. Guards! Remove her from our camp.
They restrain her.
You can't do this!
I'll be fine.
What?
Enough!
Marx is silent. The guards drag her out of the chapel and of the entire settlement. When they let her go, they keep their hands on the hilts of their swords, aware of the power she possesses. But she immediately departs into the woods. Marx is furious and storms out of the chapel, finding his way to his quarters. He sits on his cot and covers his face with his hands. Meanwhile, in lockup, Drohon is doing the exact same thing. He leans his head against the wall to reveal his bloodshot eyes. Marx then enters the rugged cell block and approaches Drohon's cell. Marx hands Drohon an apple, which Drohon accepts.
Where's Eris?
She was exiled.
What do the Medamites plan to do next?
The prefects are coming to a decision as we speak.
Drohon nods. Marx, unsure what else to say, takes his leave. Drohon then bows his head and closes his eyes in angst. Once again he believes he did not fulfill Medam's commands, and that he neither belongs with these people nor his own. Desperate, lonely, and lost, Drohon begins speaking to Medam.
O eternal Wraith, once again I have failed you. Once again I am lost without a sign. Every part of my being is directionless, down to the burning question of which tale is true. Are you who you say you are? Is Denagon who you say he is?
A voice is heard in the air. All of this, and yet you still do not believe.